The Philadelphia Experiment, a tale of science and shadows. It was a grey, misty morning on October 28, 1943, when the USS Eldridge, a newly commissioned destroyer escort, quietly bobbed in the waters of the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. The war in Europe raged on, and across the Atlantic, the Allied forces were desperate for any edge they could muster against the Axis powers. The United States Navy, always seeking the next breakthrough, had embarked on a top-secret project that day, a project shrouded in mystery and speculation, Project Rainbow, later known as the Philadelphia Experiment. The Eldridge, an unremarkable ship to the untrained eye, was to be the centerpiece of an extraordinary experiment. Scientists and engineers had labored in secrecy, developing what they believed could be a game-changing technology, the ability to render a ship invisible to enemy radar and perhaps even to the naked eye. The theory was bold, rooted in the ideas of some of the world's most brilliant minds, including Albert Einstein's elusive unified field theory, which sought to unify the forces of electromagnetism and gravity. But there were whispers among the crew and those in the know that another name, equally revered, had influenced the experiment, Nikola Tesla. Though it was alleged that Tesla had been approached by officials of the US government with the plans for the experiment, Tesla refused to be involved and warned about the dangers of tampering with such forces, particularly the potential for catastrophic results if human beings were involved. Tragically, Tesla died on January 7, 1943, just months before the alleged experiment took place. The official cause of death was coronary thrombosis, but the timing of his death, coupled with the rapid seizure of his papers by the US government, has led to speculation that there was more to the story. Was Tesla silenced to prevent him from interfering with the experiment, or to keep his dangerous knowledge from becoming public? As the final preparations were made, the crew of the Eldridge went about their duties, unaware of the horrors that were about to unfold. Scientists positioned around the ship activated the experimental equipment, massive Tesla coils, powerful generators, and mysterious devices that hummed with an otherworldly energy. A faint greenish-blue glow began to envelop the ship, growing in intensity as the electromagnetic field was ramped up. Then, in an instant, the USS Eldridge disappeared. To those watching from the shore, it was as if the ship had been plucked from existence. The waters where it had just floated were now empty, save for the faint echo of the strange hum that had filled the air. The ship was gone, not just invisible, but entirely absent from the dock. But the story did not end there. According to some accounts, the Eldridge was not merely rendered invisible, but was teleported over 200 miles away to Norfolk, Virginia. There, in the Norfolk Naval Yard, the ship was said to have materialized out of thin air as suddenly and inexplicably as it had vanished in Philadelphia. For a brief moment, it was visible to those nearby, a ghostly apparition that defied all logic and reason, and just as quickly it vanished again. Minutes later, the Eldridge reappeared in Philadelphia as if it had never left. But something had gone horribly wrong. The crew members who had been on board during the experiment were found in a state of utter disarray, their faces pale and their eyes wide with terror. Many were disoriented, unable to recall what had happened. Some were violently ill, suffering from intense nausea and vomiting. Others seemed to have lost their grip on reality, muttering incoherently about things that should not have been possible. The most horrifying reports spoke of sailors fused with the metal of the ship itself, men trapped halfway between one world and another, their bodies grotesquely embedded in the steel decks and bulkheads. Some were still alive, their eyes pleading for help, though there was nothing that could be done. These unfortunate souls had become part of the Eldridge, casualties of an experiment that had warped the very fabric of space and time. Is there any truth to these gruesome tales? We may never really know. The Navy quickly moved to contain the situation, issuing strict orders to keep the incident under wraps. The ship's logs were altered, witnesses were silenced, and the experiment was officially declared a hoax. But rumors persisted. whispered among those who had seen too much or heard the tales of what had happened that day. Some said the experiment had opened a door to another dimension, a portal that had unleashed forces beyond human comprehension. Others believed the ship had traveled not just through space but through time itself, caught in a loop of past, present and future. As the war ended and the years passed, the story of the Philadelphia experiment became the stuff of legend, its details obscured by the fog of secrecy and denial. But the mystery did not die with the war. In the years that followed, a man named Carlos Miguel Allende claimed to have witnessed the events aboard the SS Andrew Furuseth, a ship that had been docked in Norfolk at the time. He wrote letters to UFO researcher Maurice K. Jessup, describing the terrifying sight of the Eldridge materializing in Norfolk and the subsequent chaos that ensued. Jessup, intrigued and disturbed by the accounts, began to investigate, only to meet a mysterious and untimely death that was officially ruled a suicide. The whispers grew louder. Was there a connection between the Philadelphia experiment and the death of Nikola Tesla? Had Tesla's warnings been ignored, leading to the catastrophic results on the USS Eldridge? And why had the government been so quick to seize Tesla's papers after his death, sifting through his research with such urgency? The truth, if there was any to be found, remained buried under layers of official denials and classified documents. The Philadelphia experiment, with its tales of invisibility, teleportation, and the horrors of science gone awry, became one of the most enduring conspiracy theories of the 20th century. It was a story that refused to die, haunting the imaginations of those who dared to believe that the boundaries of reality might be far stranger and far more dangerous than we could ever comprehend.